Okay, yesterday we started what's called Muktza Machzor Kiz. That something is Muktza because it's something which is forbidden to use, but it's not a Keli Shemalachta Le'issa that you can move it if you need it's completely Muktza. Why? Because it's something that you would not use for anything else but what it's designated for. And we said it doesn't have to be something expensive. If you have something that's sentimental value, and they write, like for instance, you have a designated place for it, and normally you wouldn't move it for anything else, okay? Or papers for that matter, important documents, licenses, marriage contract, whatever, ksuba, things like that. You wouldn't move them for anything else. So even though it's not a kiddush malachta list, but still it will be considered Muktza Machzor Kiz because you wouldn't use it for anything else, and there's no purpose using it on Shabbos. What?
A sefer.
A sefer is never Muktza. Food is never Muktza. A sefer is never Muktza. The only time a sefer might be Muktza, even though it probably isn't, let's say I bought a sefer and I want to return it. So now I'm not going to use it even to learn, because if I use it, then I won't be able to return it, because the guy will see that I used it. So then merchandise, the B'chlal, even though merchandise themselves is not Muktza, like we said, you buy clothing are not Muktza, okay? Unless under certain circumstances they are. We'll get to that in future times. But the things are, you want to return the clothing, so you're not going to use them. Why? Because then you won't be able to return it. You know, what? So again, so it's interesting. A passport itself is a vessel, it's something you just don't leave around the house. You put it in a designated place, right? So a passport is Muktza Machzor Kiz. So really, in essence, it's completely Muktza. But we learned already that if you designate it for a particular usage, that means you're designating, so even real Muktza is not Muktza if you designate. We learned you designate a rock. I'll give you another example. Money, currency, for whatever reason it is, Chazal say, is completely Muktza. It's not a keli. It's not a keli, it's just Muktza Machaz Gufi, it's just Muktza. But what happens if somebody has, let's say, a gold coin, now, and they make it into a jewelry piece? Or it's a very, very big thing in Chabad. What the women do, they get, the Rebbe used to give out dimes to kids. So they take the dime from the Rebbe and they make a necklace out of it. Well, a nice necklace with the centerpiece of the necklace is the Rebbe's dime. Yeah? So that, because you designated it for a particular usage to make a necklace and it's permanent, so then it wouldn't be an issue. So if they make passports, say in certain places where there was a condition that you had to carry your passport with you all times, because they designated for that on Shabbat, so it's not Muktza. Huh? Well, I'm not talking about the carrying issue. Let's say there's no problem with the Erev.
You said the same thing with rocks.
If you designate the rocks before Shabbos. Okay, now what?
You said food can't be moved, it's frozen.
Frozen food that you can't use is not food. We'll learn later. For instance, frozen chicken, raw frozen chicken that you have in your freezer. On Shabbos, you're not allowed to cook. This frozen chicken you can't eat, or frozen meat. Raw meat you can't eat, right? Now maybe raw meat, right? I'm saying raw meat. But he said the word frozen. Raw meat, we're going to learn later. Raw meat is not called food, unless halacha says if you have a dog or a cat and you give them this meat to eat, so then it's not Muktza, because what you feed your dog is halachically also not Muktza. It's also called food. But if you have, let's say, frozen raw meat. Now, frozen cooked meat, we'll learn later, is not Muktza. Why? You could take it out on Shabbos, defrost it, and you can eat it on Shabbos. It's cooked already. But raw meat, so then it's not halachically called food. Or if you have food that's forbidden, i.e. chametz and Pesach, meat and a mixture of meat and milk together. Fruits of Arla the first 3 years that you're not allowed to eat the fruits, right? All those fruits, even though they're edible, technically, you're not allowed to, but technically they're edible, nevertheless you can't eat them, therefore they don't have it in the food. And therefore they're completely muktza. But that's not this concept of muktza. Okay, now for instance, what are examples of this? So they say a number of examples, with some of them we discussed already. A doctor's scalpel, that they use in surgeries or all that stuff. Or a doctor's tools that he uses. Okay, we have whatever. You have certain instruments, I'm not talking about certain utensils that you use to check the eyes. You're not going to use it for anything else. You put it away in a safe place. It's a designated place. You just don't use it to screw in a nail. A screw or something like that. Or we learned the sheikh's knife. A sheikh's knife, he's not going to use it but for anything which is shchita. And shchita you're not allowed to do on Shabbos. So therefore it's muktza and kiss. It's completely muktza. A moil's knife. Anything like that. Now, for instance, on Yom Tiv, raw meat wouldn't be muktza. Because on Yom Tiv you're allowed to cook. So if Yom Tiv you're allowed to cook, you can make we'll soon learn, a little while. Plain candles, candles, are completely muktza on Shabbos. It's a machlekes if it's keli shmelach del iser, it's real muktza. But on Yom Tov, candles are not muktza. Because Yom Tov, you're allowed to light candles, so candles are automatically not muktza. Because you can do it on Yom Tov. But you're now doing on Shabbos, you wouldn't be able to do. Okay, merchandise that you want, a shopkeeper is not going to use. Now sometimes a shop, and by the way, it's individual. So what happens if a guy has a hardware store, and now a hammer is keli shemalach del iser. But how about the hammer in the store that he's planning to sell? Would that on Shabbos be muktza kiss or not? So again, someday you'll have an owner of a hardware store that won't hesitate, that needs to knock in a nail somewhere in the store. He'll take a brand new hammer that he's planning to sell and he'll knock in a nail. So then it would only be keli shemalach del iser. But if you're an owner of a hardware store, you wouldn't do such a thing. It's muktza kiss, because he's not going to use it for anything else. So then that would make it completely muktza. Okay, if you sell, for instance, I'll give you an example. If you sell merchandise in your house, let's say many women sell tablecloths, from the house, or they sell robes, or whatever, clothing, or tablecloths, or things like that. Now somebody wants to come in on Shabbos, and they want to show a tablecloth. Now this tablecloth, you're not going to just take it out and use it and do whatever with it, because then you won't be able to sell it. So that would be muktza kiss, because again, you're not going to use it for anything because you want to sell it, and selling is not allowed on Shabbos. So that would be completely muktza. Then it's not muktza anymore. Yeah, if you designated, because before Shabbos began. Normally, if it's muktza bein hashmoshes, it's muktza the entire Shabbos. But because it's in your house, and at any moment you know that you could decide to use it for yourself, it wouldn't be muktza. Okay. Purchases that you want to return. You want to return stuff to a store. You bought it, you're planning to return it. So then you're not going to use it, because then you won't be able to return it. Somebody asked me an interesting shaila the other day. It's an old shaila, but it's more for Shabbos afternoon. Only Jews come up with this question. Am I allowed to buy stuff? This is the question. Am I allowed to buy stuff from Walmart or Costco to use it with the intent of returning it? If you have any idea how many people do that, especially Jews, No, before Elul, you have to speak good about Jews. But anyway, are you allowed to do it? You know, I'm in the Fedish intending not to keep it. I need it to use for an evening. Yeah? So I'm going to use it for an evening. But my intent is to, and the stores take it back. The stores take it back. So the question is, are you allowed to, that's for a Shabbos afternoon discussion. Okay, next. Okay, but for instance, cameras, stereos, records, all that, they don't have records. All those things are muksum achsar and kids, anything expensive. So now you go into the question like we brought up yesterday. What's with a cell phone? Okay, it's definitely keli shemalachto l'isser, that's for sure. But does it also fall into the category of muksum achsar and kids? So it depends. Some people are very particular with their phones. They just won't use it or leave it all around all over the place. They'll make sure it's in the right place. So then it would be a din of muksum achsar and kiss. Then you wouldn't be able to use it at all. Like we said, very expensive instruments. Okay, nobody's going to just leave a violin, expensive violin or guitar all over the place. They're not. If you are a person that does, you're just that type of person, then it wouldn't be muksum achsar and kiss for you. It's still keli shemalachto l'isser. You can move it to a gufi makaymer, but you can't. Then you couldn't. Okay, now for instance, they give an example. Let's say for appliances, let's say, would I use it as a paperweight? You mentioned that yesterday. What happens if I would use it as a paperweight? So then you can't classify it as a muksum achsar and kiss anymore, because there are other usages I will use it for. Then it's only keli shemalachto l'isser. It's not muksum achsar and kiss anymore. But important papers, like we said. For instance, driver license, years ago, canceled checks, now everything's online. Sales receipts, driver's license, car registrations, you know, all of that is not, you're not going to leave your license just anywhere around the house and just use it for anything. You're going to have a particular place to put it because it's valuable to you. It's not a monetary issue. If it's valuable to you that you'll not just leave it around and use it for whatever, then it's muksum achsar and kiss. What?
What's the weather today? Or turn on the lights. You're not allowed to, but which law are you? I could ask another human what time is it and they respond to me.
No, what time it is, they can tell you.
Right, so that's an AI telling me.
Yeah, but that's digital, that's electric.
I didn't touch it. I didn't move it.
Yeah, your mouth did. Are you allowed to, I'll give you an example. You're not allowed to carry on Shabbos, right? So let's say you can't carry 6 feet in Rosh Hashanah. So am I allowed to blow something 6 feet in the street? Like a ping pong ball, yeah, it's light. Can I blow it 6 feet? No, because it's called carrying. That's called carrying. So anything like that. Now, it's not for now, but one day we'll discuss the entire issue, why is electricity forbidden on Shabbos? There's a lot of, as they say in the yeshiva language, a lot of ink was spilled about this topic. And a lot was written about it from contemporary poskim. But see, the problem is when you need to rule on a halachic issue, you need to know the physical knowledge of it, the scientific knowledge of it, and then you need to know the halacha also. You can maybe be a brilliant person in halacha, but if you don't know the technological aspects of it, then you can't make a ruling on it. I'll give you an example. There are great poskim, Minchas Allah is a very, very great poskim, that ruled that you can listen to shofar on a microphone or through the telephone and things like that. You could be Kriyas HaTorah, Havdalah, not shofar, obviously, Megillah, all that, you could do it through the telephone. Why? Because, not that they didn't know halacha, they knew halacha fantastic, but they didn't know the way a telephone worked. They were misinformed. Whoever gave them the knowledge of the telephone that they relied on didn't know what he was talking about. He says, you talk here and the voice comes out there. But that's not the reality. It's a mechanically reproduced voice. So there's a whole electrical process going in. So when you hear the voice on the other end, it's not the original voice, it's a mechanically reproduced voice. And you learn out from Shofar that if you hear the voice of Shofar from an echo, it means you don't actually hear the voice of the Shofar. You hear the echo, you're not Yetzer. So that there you see, if you don't hear the actual original voice, you're not Yetzer. So if somebody listens to Megillah through a microphone, telephone, you're not Yetzer. Because you're not hearing the Megillah from the person that's reading it. If you have a megaphone, non-electric megaphone, because electric megaphone is also mechanically reproduced. But if I have a megaphone, and I read the Megillah like this, that the voice carries further, that's good. Because now you're hearing the original voice. What did you want?
Is a sefer that you hold and you cherish, something you don't bring out, and it's antique, is that?
No, that's fun, but not Muktza. I'll give you an example. You have very expensive glasses, very expensive crystal glasses, or very expensive dishes. Okay? You normally don't use them. Very unique, special, occasions you use it. So that is that called Muktza Machzor Kiss? So the answer is halacha says it's not, because glasses are glasses. Either expensive, you won't use it, but when you have to use it, you will use it. It's not, it's the same thing with a sefer. What? Okay, it's too late for now. The answer is no, you can't. Because of another din, you cannot have noisy appliances working in your house on Shabbos. It's not that quiet. I mean, I never saw one, but I imagine that.